Hour, the wheels of justice turning. The leader of the far-right extremist group, the Oath Keepers, and another member of the group make their appearances in federal courts, both arraigned. Charges almost didn't happen. People briefed on the matter say that Attorney General Merrick Garland initially balked at the higher charges, but over time, the overwhelming evidence changed his mind. The charging documents allege in stunning detail extensive planning by these 11 defendants, from encrypted communications to purchases of weapons and tactical gear, paramilitary training, even a plot to dock a boat near the Capitol, a boat loaded with weapons. CNN's Paula Reed starts us off this hour with the case prosecutors are building. This is in Plano, Texas, just outside Dallas, where the leader of the Oath Keepers, a far-right group, just appeared in court. Ed, you were able to watch this hearing. Walk us through what happened.
Well, it was a brief hearing. Stewart Rhodes showing up in a dark T-shirt and jeans before the judge. He waived his right to have the 48-page indictment read out loud in the courtroom. But attorneys for Stewart Rhodes say right now they are focused on getting him out of jail while he awaits trial. And the judge has announced that next Thursday they will hold a detention hearing where both sides, prosecutors and defense attorneys, can present evidence to determine whether or not Stewart Rhodes will be held in jail and confined until his trial. He's facing 5 federal criminal counts, including that charge of seditious conspiracy. All of these face up to 20 years in prison if he is convicted. Rhodes appeared very calm, kind of unfazed by everything that was going on, even as he was standing there in the courtroom, shackled and handcuffed today. Jake?
Ed Lavandera, thank you so much. Joining us now, George Conway, a conservative lawyer, husband, of course, of Kellyanne Conway, who was counselor to former President Donald Trump. George was considered at one point for the role of Solicitor General. George, the Justice Department is filing its most serious charges yet in its investigation into the January 6th attack. Seditious conspiracy charges against 11 attendants. It's a very high bar to prove in court. What do you make of the filing?
Well, I mean, the filing is extraordinary in the amount of detail that it provides. I mean, an incredible amount of work had to have gone in by the FBI and by the U.S. Attorney's Office to prepare this indictment. It contains a lot more evidence than you ever actually need to charge somebody. And what it shows, though, is that the seditious conspiracy charges fit like a glove here. I mean, they were clearly, what seditious conspiracy prohibits is a conspiracy to, by force, either overthrow the government or to undermine or hinder and delay the execution of any law of the United States. And that includes the laws in particular here that were cited in the indictment, which are the 12th and 20th Amendments to the Constitution and the Electoral Count Act of 1887, all of which guarantee the peaceful transfer of power. And it's clear that this was a long conspiracy designed to delay, if not prevent, the transfer of power. And it goes to the heart of our democracy.
We should note Stewart Rhodes entered a not guilty plea in court today. I want to play part of the defense for Rhodes that came from his attorney who spoke to CNN today. Take a listen.
I want to see the entire documents because the planning was about events in Florida. It was about December 12th. It was about November 14th. And it was about their somewhat fanciful idea that they thought the president was going to call them up under the Insurrection Act, which I don't pretend to understand. But they were quite fixated on the idea that Trump was going to activate them as a militia under the Insurrection Act. So we think that most of the quotes are misrepresented.
What do you make of that defense, George?
Well, it's basically he's hanging his own clients with the rope that he's dangling, because he's basically saying if they were there with the conspiring to use force, because there's no legal way that Donald Trump could have authorized them to use force on behalf of himself in order to maintain power illegally. So it's just, I mean, the fact that he's admitting what's the core element of the indictment, which is that these guys were stashing weapons away in a motel in Boston.